Hey everyone, I'm Nicole Guillaume with Guiding Echoes, the channel that is devoted to your spiritual and personal growth. Now, if you are new to the spiritual, new age, metaphysical community, you may have noticed that there's some interesting beliefs floating out there. And even if you've been a part of this community for quite some time, well, you've more than likely noticed the same thing. So in this video, I wanted to uncover 5 of the most common myths or lies or whatever adjective you want to add here, untruths regarding what it takes to live a spiritual life. And the very first one on the list is that it's easy. Somehow, for some reason, people came up with this idea that once you got on a spiritual path, life was going to become so easy, so magical. And that really just isn't true. So let's talk about what a spiritual life should offer for you. In life, we're always going to have challenges. Our finances will go up and down, we'll get healthy, we'll get sick, our loved ones will pass away. There's so many things in this world that are uncertain, and we are all wired to struggle in some way, shape, or form. And when you turn to the spiritual life to escape that, well, you're going to be severely disappointed because your spiritual life isn't going to prevent you from experiencing harm or experiencing negative things in your life. But your spiritual life should help you to stay grounded and give you the strength and the courage to be able to get through those challenges. So the spiritual path isn't a get out of jail for free card. It's a hunker down, this is going to be hard, but you have the strength to get through it. And I believe one of the reasons that people believe that the spiritual life is going to be easy is because of the candy gurus that they follow. And candy guru is a term that I coined, and it refers to someone who gives this really wonderful candy-coated message, you know, this sugar-coated message. And it sounds good when it's going down, it sounds good to the ears, it tastes wonderful, but in the end, it's going to rot your teeth and make you sick, just like candy would. So you have to be careful with candy gurus because they tell you what you want to hear, and they deliver some type of promise to you, but they can't always deliver. And a lot of times what they like to do is they love to show off their riches and their material wealth and talk about all the magnificent, wonderful things they've experienced in their life, but they don't tell you about the struggle. And I can guarantee that any person who has created any amount of purpose or wealth or material possessions in their life, in fact, any person who is alive, who is breathing, has experienced some type of struggle. So please, please, please do not be fooled by these candy gurus who are telling you otherwise. Everyone struggles. Everyone feels some sensation of pain or doubt. It's just that some people are able to navigate through it better and they don't allow it to get them down. And that's what you want, right? You want to be able to create strength and resilience that will help you to get through those hard times. The second myth is that perfection is required, right? Once you become a spiritual person, suddenly everyone wants you to be perfect. And it doesn't matter what spiritual path you're on. If you're on more of a new age eclectic path, if you're a Christian, if you're Muslim, or is it pronounced Muslim? I'm not quite sure. I hear it pronounced both ways. If you're Jewish, whatever your religion is, people all of a sudden expect you to be perfect. And when you make a mistake, or you make the wrong choice, or maybe you just behave badly, people come up to you and they're like, well, I thought you were supposed to be spiritual. Well, newsflash, everyone is spiritual, but everyone is also deeply flawed because everyone's human and everyone's going through their own struggles. And everyone sees things through their own lenses. And how we see the world is how we're going to behave and interact with it. No one, not even you, is going to make the right decision all of the time. So we have to be able to leave some room for mistakes. The question is, how big of a mistake are we talking about, right? And that's a video for, and that's a topic for another video some other time. But just remember, being spiritual doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. It was never about becoming perfect, because your spirit is already perfect the way you are. Now, you as a person, you as a personality and as a human, may have some work to do, right? You may have some healing and some inner work and personal growth to go through, and that's fine. That's part of your journey. So know that the spiritual path is not about perfection. It's about growing. It's about knowing who you are and accepting who you are through all different phases and seasons of your life. The third myth, which drives me crazy, is that your ego is out to destroy you. Your ego is just this horrible thing that wants nothing more than your demise. And the reason this is hilarious to me is because your ego is your personality, right? And you probably have a very endearing personality, and it takes all sorts of personalities to make the world go round. Some people are very disciplined, some people are very funny, some people are just outgoing, others are more introverted. These are, of course, just different traits that people might apply to your personality, to your ego, and that's just fine. So the reality is that your ego loves you very much. Your ego is how you present yourself to the world. Now, I think that we would be doing the spiritual world a huge favor if we were to change the word ego to the shadow side, the shadow self. And I'm not someone who believes the shadow self is inherently evil, but again, that's a topic for another time. But your shadow side are those things that you're ashamed of. They're the things that you keep in the dark. Your ego, on the other hand, is very self-protective, right? Your ego wants to keep you safe, and your ego also wants to see you succeed. So your ego is going to be fearful, and it's going to be encouraging for very different reasons. Your shadow side, however, well, that's your darker side. That's the side that encourages you to do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. So remember, your ego is fine. And, you know, again, when it comes to your personality, maybe you need to do some personal work. I don't know. I don't know what phase of life that you're in, but I know that we all have room to grow. So don't be afraid of your ego. Embrace it. Thank it for being around. And when your ego starts to speak up, whether it's through fear or encouragement, know that your ego is just looking out for you. The fourth myth is that enlightenment is a destination. Once you're enlightened, you don't have to worry about anything, right? You have all of the knowledge and wisdom of the heavenly realms that you could ever ask for and ever hope for. Oh, if only that were true. Enlightenment is a journey. It is a process. And if you're on any form of spiritual path, and even if you're not, you can be an atheist and you can still be on the path of enlightenment, because enlightenment is about opening up your mind and learning more than what you knew about yesterday. It's about being more than you were yesterday. So think of enlightenment as this. You walk into a room that is completely dark, and you have a flashlight with you, and when you turn on the flashlight, what happens? Well, you're able to see things differently. And when you turned on that flashlight in the room, it's not as if whatever you saw just appeared out of nowhere. It didn't just magically manifest. It was always there. It's just that you couldn't see it because the lights were off. So once the lights are on, you're able to see everything. Well, that's kind of what life does for us. As we continue down this journey, this magical journey known as life, we start to grow and our consciousness expands. We have a better understanding of just different elements of life. We have a better understanding of what it means to suffer. We have a better understanding of what our life purpose is and how we can help other people out. We understand better what our place is in this world and how we can bring meaning and value to the lives of others while enjoying our own life, or while creating the strength and resilience to get through our own struggles. So enlightenment is something that is almost always happening for us, not to us, but it does require an open-mindedness. Right? You can't go through life assuming that you know everything. What fun is that? Could you imagine how boring life would be if there was nothing left to discover? Whether personally or spiritually or physically, there's always something new to learn. And that's what the path of enlightenment does. It allows us to learn. And as we are open-minded and as we take in these wonderful new spiritual topics, of course our consciousness rises and our vibration gets stronger. And as we're able to do that, the angels and our guides in the universe pays attention and allows us to peek behind the curtain to learn even more spiritual truths. Number 5 on the list is that you're not allowed to have fun anymore, right? This means no drinking, no partying. You may want to abstain from sex. You're not allowed to have nice clothes or wear makeup anymore. And of course, you have to remain poor. You're not allowed to have money on the spiritual path, right? If you're rich, well, that's not good. Because remember what Jesus said. He said, it is easier for a camel to enter the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. So clearly, being wealthy is a terrible thing, right? Wrong. The reality is that when we do have financial and material wealth, we're able to relax a little bit, we feel safe, we feel secure, and we can actually pursue our spiritual desires easily, and we can also give to the community through a generous and open heart. Also, in regards to having fun, absolutely you're allowed to have fun. It raises your vibration, it lifts your consciousness, and why shouldn't you enjoy your time here on earth? So a spiritual life is not meant to be a punishment, right? It is meant to be something that helps you get through life, because you know what? We don't need to punish ourselves. Life does that for us. How many times have you been treated wrongly by a friend, by a coworker, by a spouse, or a boss? Unfairness and struggle is all around us, and we don't need to add to that by using the spiritual life as an excuse, because when that happens, you're in a poor me mentality. You fall into a victim mentality, and I believe that your spiritual path and your spiritual purpose is meant to empower you, not to break you, not to break you to the point where you stay broken. The spiritual life, if it does break you, it's to build you up and make you better than you were before. But please don't allow people to think that you have to stay poor, that you have to be destitute, that you can't wear nice clothes, that you can't wear makeup if you're on the spiritual path. I know that a lot of people will say, well, if you're so spiritual, you wouldn't be into that type of stuff because that's materialistic, or that's worldly, or that's shallow. Well, it might be worldly, but guess what? We live on the world. We live on planet Earth. These are the things that we do, right? So don't feel bad about going out there and having some fun. It is absolutely okay. And if you need someone's permission to be able to go out and have fun in a way that is safe, of course, and isn't going to harm you or other people, then I give you my permission. Go out, have fun, have a ball, have a blast, journal about it, go to bed, be grateful for the wonderful day you had, and allow that to give you some encouragement and motivation for the next day when you have to get up and go to work. Lucky you. So number 6 is kind of a bonus. I know that this title talks about only 5, but as I was talking, I came up with the 6th one. And the 6th myth that can be really dangerous is that you have to be accepting of everybody. Oh, doesn't that sound wonderful? The reality is that accepting everybody as they are can be very dangerous. You have got to be mindful of the people that you're allowing into your inner circle, because your community, the people around you, the personalities that you keep in your tight-knit community can make or break you. And if you do not judge people wisely, you're going to find yourself in the hands of people who are abusing you, using you, don't care much about you, or people who are just bad influences. And when you surround yourself with people who are bad influences, or do have a bad temper, or are angry all the time, or negative all the time, guess what? Those traits and habits start to manifest in you. So what it means to accept people as they are doesn't mean that you need to welcome everyone into your awareness. It does not mean that you need to open up the gates of your home and allow everyone in. And most importantly, it doesn't mean that everyone deserves a space in your heart. That is dangerous territory, my friend. Accepting others as they are means that you're not going to try to change them. You understand it's not your responsibility. You can still be friendly with them, and you can still have an acquaintanceship with them. And depending on how strong you are, you may even be able to be close with one or two of these people, so long as you have a stronger foundation and stronger group of friends that can keep you in check. So when it comes to these people who are somewhat toxic, and the toxic people are usually going to be self-destructive, and they look for people to bring with them because misery loves company, right? And so you need to be really careful with that, okay? So accept that people are who they are, and they've chosen that path for a reason. Maybe there is a lesson in it that is helping them to grow. Maybe they're working out some karma. Maybe they just grew up in a really bad family environment and they haven't found a path that's right for them yet. And if they haven't found it yet, it's not up to you to force them onto it. Now, if they come to you and they're telling you that they're trying to become a better person, and you can tell that they really are taking the action necessary to grow, and they really are open to your advice and to moving forward on a new path, then cautiously give them your time. But just remember, it's not up to you to save anybody. These people who are sometimes immensely broken need the type of care that you may not be able to provide to them. But you can still love them and you can still care about them. Just accept that they are who they are, and accept that you can't change them, and it's not your responsibility to change or save them. And I know that seems harsh, but the reality is that we're all our own saviors to some extent. If someone really wants to change and they want to better their lives, they will. So there you go. Those are the 5 myths plus a bonus, right? So 6 myths of the spiritual life. And if there is one that I missed and you were maybe waiting for me to mention it the whole time and I didn't, because either I didn't know about it or I forgot, don't know which one it is. But if there's one that you'd like to add to the list, put it in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I would like to welcome you to the Guiding Echoes community, and I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here on this channel, we love to talk about spiritual topics, and if that's up your alley, you have come to the right place. So hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit that little bell icon so you can be notified when I release new videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.